You know, I will tell you what I think when I
Mm,
hear stories like this. And there are many stories like this. It is very common. Um, in some parts of the world, it's 70, 80% of
mm.
people divorce.
Divide, divorce.
Yep, yep. And in other parts, it's only
Mm,
50%, right?
mhm,
Which
mhm,
is still bad.
mm,
Because if I have a business proposal or a business plan and I tell you, oh, it's 50% yes, 50% no, you will
mhm,
say, oh, that's bad. I don't want to be part of
mhm,
this. You know,
mhm,
50% chance of success is not good
mhm,
in anything. It might be better than nothing, but it's still not good. And and so depending upon where you live, it's 50 to 80%. And not only is it 50 to 80% depending upon where you live, if you get divorced, your second marriage has a higher percentage chance of failure.
mhm, mhm,
So say your first marriage is a 50% chance
mhm,
of negative result. Your second marriage is an 80% chance of a
mm,
negative result.
mm.
So
Yes.
what you are doing is going from bad to worse.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's what she.
Yeah, you're going from your start is bad, but your next step is
Oh,
worse.
yes, I understand. Mm,
Now, I know this and you know this and we understand this. But here's the problem. Everybody looks at the children and says, they
mhm,
made a mistake. That was wrong. Everybody looks at the children. But I don't. Because I know, and this is hard, but it's true. I know that if my children have a problem with their relationship, it's because I did not do my job right.
mm,
Because my job is to make sure that they're okay
mm,
with their choices.
mm,
You can say it's their world, you can say it's their life, you can say it's their choice, but it's not. Because the world is bigger and life is more complicated than
mm,
that. And it's my job to make sure that the person that my son marries or my daughter marries is the right person. And if they're the wrong person,
mm,
I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that it does not happen.
mm,
Why is this? Why is this? This is because I'm older
mm,
and I have more experience and I have more knowledge and I have more understanding. I'm not always right,
mhm,
but you need rules. You need standards. You can't just say, I wash my hands. Nothing to do with
mhm.
me.
Yeah.
Their problem. You can't do that because you are, as the parent, you are the teacher.
Mm.
You are the model. You are the guide. You are the
Yes,
leader. You are
yes,
the
yes.
the inspiration, the motivation.
For children, yes.
And 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 so when the children have a problem with their relationships, everybody points at the children and says, "Oh, that's wrong," or that's bad. But I don't. I point at the parents.
Parents, yes.
I point at the parents and I say, what did you do? Or more importantly, what did you not do? Because most often it's not what you did, and here's the example, it's not what you did, it's not that you ate chocolate and drank Coca-Cola,
Mm.
it's that you didn't drink water and you didn't eat fruit.
Mm.
So you see how what you did not do is bigger and more important than what you did. And so I always look at the parents, and I always want to ask the parents, how is this possible that first you allowed your daughter to get into this situation? How did you allow that to happen? How could you not see
Mm.
further down the road? Because when you're older, you develop long-term perspective. The old, you can, when you're 20, you can't see 40. But when you're 40, you can see 60 and 80 because you have that experience, you have that understanding, you know how the world works. And I think the problem is not very often in the children. It's in the parents allowing their children to make bad decisions. It's not that the parents should make all the decisions for their children. Definitely not. And there will always be some form of conflict. There will always be some form of conflict, between parents and children. It's natural. And it's healthy, right? It's healthy to have some disagreement about things. Because, and it's also kind of boring. If you agree everything, it's boring, right? You can't have a conversation if you agree about everything. It's just boring. So my question in connection with all these problems in marriages and divorces, where's the families? Where are the families whose job it is, A, to make sure that their son or their daughter marries the right person, and then B, to keep them together?
Yeah, yeah.
Because, and here's the next point, because if mom and dad separate and you have children, in this case, 2 children, there is a higher percentage chance that the children will divorce in the future because of your divorce.
Exactly. Presne tak.
And so what the grandparents did not do destroys the life of the grandchildren. But people can't see it because of the generation gap.
Yes,
Right? They see, and here's the example, they see, you see the criminal, but you don't see the person that pays the criminal to do the crime.
Yeah.
Because it's another level, right? It's another level. And it's crazy to me that so many people are, I can't do anything about it. I don't know what to do. It's nothing to do with it. And it's because it's then everybody's problem. It's then everybody's problem because it almost becomes it's not biological, but it almost becomes part of your DNA because the history of your family is negative results. The history of your family is negative results. And if, say, for example, that the wife wants to divorce her husband, it's how did you get into this position in the first place? How did you not see the future? How did you make this decision? And when you get married, you say till death. You promise, right? You put the
Mm,
ring on the finger and you
mm,
say,
yes, yes.
till death.
Mm,
So,
mm,
so you both made a promise, right?
yes.
You both made a promise. He made the promise and she made the promise.
Mm, mm,
And so it's interesting to me that I think a lot of the problem comes from the fact that parents, like myself, are
mm,
we're not doing our job properly.
mm,
Because our job is to see that our children win.
mm,
I don't mean win everything.
mhm,
I don't mean win everything. I mean just find satisfaction, happiness, progress, some form of progression in their life. That's our job. It's our job to guide, to help,
mm,
to support. That's our job. And when our children are not successful,
mm,
it's in the back of our minds, right? I mean, it's in the back
mm,
of our minds. When are my sons going to get married, right?
mhm,
you
yeah.
know, and so it's very interesting for me because when I hear about divorce, I also ask myself, how does this benefit anybody?
Mm, okay.
Who gets a benefit from this? Who gets a positive result from this? It's your next relationship is based on the past unsuccessful relationship. You can't have a more positive relationship. Your partner's got a history of
Mm,
failure. Your children are going to be confused and mixed up, and they might be getting Christmas presents from four sets of grandparents all over the place.
mhm, mhm,
God knows who is who. And it's it's a mess. Nobody benefits.